Disclaimer. In no way does this speech represent the views of the United States Army or my personal views. This speech is for argumentative purposes only, for public speaking at Park University. Government agents kicking in doors in the middle of the night. Armed thugs taking people away from their families. People being processed and thrown in prison without any due process. Now this might sound to you like maybe Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler, maybe even Joseph Stalin during the Russian Revolution. You'd be surprised to know that this is America, and that's possibly where we're even headed to in the future if this continues. America is quickly becoming a police state. Not many people realize this, but it's important to know. Your rights every day are being trampled and taken away. Now, I've been in the military for 18 years, and I've fought for my country, so by all means, shouldn't anybody say that my views are anti-government, because they're not. A lot of people will say, well, it's amazing how quickly we forget that we were attacked just recently by terrorists. Oh, I know. I've been deployed 4 times fighting those terrorists that attacked our country. But I didn't fight those terrorists, come back to America and have my rights themselves trampled upon. Today I'm going to talk to you about instances of a police state in the United States in the recent history. We're going to talk about what is going on right now in America that is making this a police state. We're going to talk about the future, what's in store if we don't go ahead and act now to try to stop this. Now, Benjamin Franklin is known to have said, "They who will give up essential liberty for a little bit of safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." That's one of our founding fathers. That was a great American. We have to go ahead and look at what a police state actually is. Now, Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines a police state as a political unit, country characterized by repressive government and political, economic, and social life restrictions, which, due to the abuse of power and the use of secret police, makes government go against any legal proceedings for the people. That's interesting. We're going to go ahead and have to look at, there are those who might believe that, you know what, I don't have to worry if America is becoming a police state because I'm a law-abiding citizen. If I don't do nothing wrong, I'm totally fine. There are people that might head and say, only criminals, only if you're doing something wrong do you actually have to worry about the police. Only if you're doing something wrong do you have to worry about the government being intrusive. Well, I'm here to let you know that's not the facts. You might say, how come I haven't seen a lot of this in the media? Growing more and more, you're going to begin to realize that the media is nothing more than the vessel of the government to provide you misinformation. Let's look at the Branch Davidian standoff in Waco, Texas in 1993. A bunch of armed citizens, that's right, U.S. citizens, were conducting what they felt was their religion, was their right, on their own territory. Now, if somebody had an arrest warrant, if you look at the way America's supposed to be, you can wait until that individual comes out. They weren't hurting anybody else, they were inside their compound. Instead, what ensued was a standoff with numerous government agents where they ended up starting a fire, killing everybody inside, among women and children. Does that sound like due process? Does that sound like the America that our forefathers wanted us to have? Let's give you another example. 1992, Randy Weaver family, living in Idaho. Randy Weaver is said to have purchased a shotgun that was too short to be sold on the open market by the ATF, an undercover agent that set him up. Well, normally you would think, okay, we're just going to go ahead and arrest Randy Weaver. They did. When he failed to show up for court, U.S. Marshals, Special Operations Group, staged outside of his home, ambushed him, his son, and his dog. They killed his son, they shot him in the back. He was only 14 years old. Which ensued after that was a standoff at his house where they shot and killed. An FBI sharpshooter shot and killed his wife while holding on to his child. In the end, Randy Weaver survived. He was convicted and spent approximately 6 months in jail and received an undisclosed settlement from the United States Marshal Service. Of course, the Marshal Service and the Department of Justice admitted no wrongdoing. However, a man on his own property, just simply living with his family, Having government agents kicking his door is a dangerous thing. Now, we can look at this and we can say, okay, well, these are just certain instances where the government has gone ahead and outstepped its bounds. This is what's actually becoming in everyday America. Now, James Petraeus and Robert Eastman wrote in an article that was entitled "The Police State," that the police state flourishes while public discontent is focused more on economic instability than society and their laws. So what they're trying to say is that when you go ahead and you have a bad economy, people are going to be more focused on that than exactly what the government's doing if they're overstepping their bounds. Now the government's going to use a lot of smoke and mirrors on you. They're going to say that they're doing this just to help you out. They're going to twist the truth, stretch it maybe one way or the other. Oklahoma City bombing Timothy McVeigh. The New York Times actually wrote an article on this, Ms. Nina Bernstein, that the whole reason Timothy McVeigh was convicted and actually sentenced to murder is because of his discontent for the United States government. We have brought people to become so fearful of somebody that's willing to stand up and say something's wrong. I'm not saying Timothy McVeigh was right, but we're so quick to go ahead, due to the media, and condemn people that act against the government. Now, police overstep their bounds constantly on every day. What we have to realize is that when they overstep their bounds, they're actually more to a danger than the public, than the criminals that are supposedly put behind bars. Now, you might still be thinking how this affects you. Well, let's look at the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act has wiretaps, no-knock warrants. They can also go ahead, look at your computer records. All this happened after 2001 under the ruse of fighting terrorism. And that's what's going on right now. That's what's going on today. So, what do we think is the real threat? And what would our founding fathers currently think about the situation? Well, that's something we ought to look at and be Americans and stand up for what's right, because we love our country. So today we looked at the history of what has happened to the police state in America. We looked at where we're at in the future. Well, the future all depends on you, if you can stand up and do the right thing. America is becoming a police state, and unless me or you stand up, we're destined to become like Nazi Germany or Soviet Union. Yeah. One more disclaimer. In no way, shape, or form does this speech represent the views of myself or the United States Army. This is for argumentative purposes only for Park University public speaking. Shukran.